My name is Rachel. I am 34 years old. I work as a dental receptionist. Last week I went to my mother's funeral. And my stepfather stood up in front of everyone during the reception and called me a freeloader who never did anything for my mum. Then the lawyer who was sitting in the corner with a cup of tea stood up. Before I tell you what she said, could you do me a quick favor? If you like these stories, please like and subscribe and drop a comment below saying what country you're watching from. It really helps more than you know. Okay, let's start from the beginning. My mum married Derek when I was 16. I didn't mind him at first. He was nice enough. A bit loud. The kind of person who laughs at his own jokes before anyone else does. He had a daughter from his first marriage. Her name was Gemma. She was 14 when they got married. Gemma was the kind of girl who always got what she wanted. Not in a mean way exactly. Just in that way some people are. Like the world just naturally bends around them. She'd say she wanted pizza and everyone would want pizza too. She'd say a film was boring and suddenly everyone agreed it was boring. I moved out when I was 18. Got a flat share with 2 other girls in town. It was a bit rubbish if I'm honest. The boiler didn't work half the time. But it was mine. I paid my own rent. I worked at the same dental surgery I still work at now. Dr. Palmer's office on the high street. The one above Greg's. Gemma stayed at home until she was 26. Maybe 27. I'm not sure. She went to university but she came home every weekend. Then after university she just moved back in. Mum never asked her for rent or anything. I don't think it even occurred to anyone that she should pay. I used to visit every Sunday. Well, most Sundays. I'd bring those biscuits Mum liked from Marks and Spencer. The dark chocolate ones in the purple packet. We'd have a cup of tea. Sometimes Gemma would be there. Sometimes not. Mum got sick about 2 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. It was quick. Well, not quick. But quicker than some cancers. She was still herself until quite near the end, which I suppose was something. I took time off work to take her to appointments. I used up all my holiday days and then some. Dr. Palmer was good about it. He let me go part-time for a bit. I couldn't afford it really, but I did it anyway. Derek was there too, of course. He loved Mum. I do believe that. He just wasn't very good with hospitals. He'd come to the big appointments but he'd wait in the car for the small ones. Said the smell made him feel sick. Gemma visited when she could. She lives in London now. Works in marketing for some company I can never remember the name of. Something to do with brands. She'd come up maybe once a month. She'd bring flowers. Expensive ones. The kind that come already arranged in a vase. I was there more. I don't say that to sound better than anyone. It's just a fact. I lived 20 minutes away. I could pop in after work. I'd help Mum wash her hair in the kitchen sink when she got too tired to stand in the shower. Little things like that. The funeral was at St. Mary's. The church near the park. It was a gray day but not raining. I remember being grateful for that. My shoes were pinching a bit. I'd bought them the day before from Clark's and hadn't broken them in properly. There were about 60 people there maybe. Mum had a lot of friends from her book club and her old work. The reception was in the church hall next door. You know the kind. Wooden floors that squeak. Plastic chairs stacked against the walls. There was a long table with sandwiches and sausage rolls from the co-op. Someone had made a Victoria sponge but they'd put it too close to the edge of the table and the tablecloth had a brown tea stain right next to it. I wasn't really hungry. I just stood near the window holding a paper plate with a sandwich I wasn't eating. Egg mayonnaise, I think. People kept coming up to me and saying sorry for my loss and I kept saying thank you. You go on autopilot during these things. Derek was across the room talking to Mum's brother. Uncle Keith. He was talking quite loudly. Not inappropriately loud. Just his normal volume. Some people are just like that. Gemma was wearing a beautiful black dress. Probably expensive. She looked perfect. Her makeup was perfect even though she'd been crying. Some people just cry prettily. I'm not one of them. When I cry my whole face goes blotchy and my nose runs. I saw the lawyer arrive during the service. I didn't know she was the lawyer then. I just saw a woman I didn't recognize slip into the back row. She was maybe 60. Gray hair cut short. Navy blue suit. She had one of those faces that's hard to read. She was at the reception too. Sitting in the corner by herself with a cup of tea. I thought maybe she was someone from Mum's work that I'd never met. I didn't go over. I was too tired to make small talk with strangers. I was talking to Mrs. Henderson from Mum's book club when Derek clinked his glass. Not with a spoon. Just with his ring. Made a little tinking sound. The room went quiet bit by bit. The way rooms do. He cleared his throat. I already felt that thing in my stomach. Like when you're at the top of a roller coaster and you know what's coming but you can't get off. I don't know how I knew. I just did. I just want to say a few words, Derek said. His voice was shaky. He'd been crying earlier. About my beautiful wife. Janet was. She was the love of my life. People nodded. Someone said hear hear quietly. She was generous, Derek continued. Sometimes too generous. She'd give you the shirt off her back. She never wanted to upset anyone. Never wanted to cause a fuss. I watched him. I wasn't even holding my plate anymore. I'd put it down somewhere. I think some people took advantage of that, he said. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking at his glass. Some people were happy to let her give and never give anything back. The room felt different now. People weren't nodding anymore. Mrs. Henderson touched my arm. My Gemma sacrificed her career to spend time with Janet at the end, Derek said. His voice was louder now. She was up here every week. Sometimes twice a week. Taking time off work. Spending money on trains she couldn't afford. That wasn't true. Gemma came once a month maximum. But I didn't say anything. My throat felt tight. Some people couldn't even be bothered to visit, Derek said. And now he was looking at me. Some people were too busy with their own little lives. Too busy filing papers at the dentist or whatever it is you do. I work on reception but I didn't correct him. And now Janet's gone, Derek said. And the freeloaders come out of the woodwork, don't they? Hoping for a piece of what's left. Someone gasped. I think it was Mum's friend Carol. The room was completely silent. I could hear the traffic outside on the main road. I smiled. I don't know why. It's just what my face did. A small polite smile, like when someone tells a joke you don't find funny but you don't want to be rude. I just think it's disgusting, Derek said. He was crying now. Real tears. That's all I wanted to say. He sat down. Gemma put her hand on his shoulder. She looked at me. Not angry. Just sad. Like she pitied me. People started talking again quietly. Not normal conversation. That whisper thing people do when something awkward has happened. Mrs. Henderson leaned in and whispered, "Don't listen to him, love, he's grieving," but her eyes were uncertain. Like maybe she was wondering if it was true. I should have left then. I don't know why I didn't. I just stood there. My shoes were really hurting now. There was a blister forming on my left heel. I looked around the room. People were avoiding my eyes. Uncle Keith was studying his sandwich like it was the most interesting thing he'd ever seen. Mum's cousin Lisa was suddenly very focused on her phone. That's when I noticed the woman in the navy suit. The one from the back of the church. She was still in the corner. She hadn't moved. But she was staring at Derek. Then at me. Then at Derek again. She had this look on her face. Confused. Like she'd just walked into the wrong room and couldn't quite work out where she was supposed to be. She took a sip of her tea. Put the cup down. Picked it up again. Drank the rest of it even though it must have been cold by then. Everyone else had moved on. Gemma was talking to someone about Mum's garden. Derek was wiping his eyes with a tissue. The normal funeral reception noise was starting up again. That low hum of conversation. But this woman was still staring. At me now. Just at me. She looked like she was doing maths in her head. Working something out. She stood up. Her chair scraped against the floor. A few people glanced over then looked away. She walked to the middle of the room. She wasn't tall but she stood very straight. "Excuse me," she said. Her voice wasn't loud but it carried. The room went quiet again. Faster this time. Derek looked at her. "Yes. My name is Helen Morrison," the woman said. "I'm Janet's solicitor. I've been her solicitor for 18 years. Derek nodded. "Right. Yes. We can do the will reading next week, I thought. Didn't seem appropriate today." "I think it's very appropriate today," Helen said. She was looking at Derek the way you'd look at something stuck to your shoe. "Given what you've just said." "I don't think," Derek started. "Janet came to see me 6 weeks ago," Helen interrupted. She pulled a folded piece of paper from her jacket pocket. She was very clear about what she wanted. And very clear about why. The room was completely silent now. Not a sound. I could hear my own heartbeat. "She left the house to Rachel," Helen said. She looked right at me. "All of it. Not half. All of it." Derek, you have the right to live there for up to 1 year, but the property is Rachel's. I couldn't breathe. People were staring at me now. The savings account goes to Rachel as well, Helen continued. There's about £47,000 in it. Janet was very specific that Gemma and Derek should receive her personal items and furniture but nothing else. Gemma's mouth was open. Derek had gone completely white. Chilly white. Like paper. She also left a letter, Helen said, which she asked me to read only if anyone contested the will or made accusations against Rachel. I believe we've met that threshold. She unfolded a piece of paper. I recognized Mum's handwriting. That slanted way she wrote. The little loops on her LS. To anyone listening, Helen read. Rachel has been my daughter and my friend and my carer. He took me to every appointment. He washed my hair. He held my hand during the bad nights. She used all her holiday time and her sick days and then took unpaid leave when that ran out. He brought me my favorite biscuits every week for 2 years. The dark chocolate ones from Emmons. She never asked me for anything. Not once. Derek and Gemma, I love you both, but you were not there. Not really. Not when it was hard. Rachel was there when it was hard. This is not a punishment. This is just the truth. Please don't be angry. I'm not angry. I'm just tired and I want the person who cared for me to be cared for in return. Love, Mum. Helen folded the letter. She put it back in her pocket. Nobody moved. Nobody said anything. You could have heard a pin drop. You actually could have. Derek was shaking his head very slightly, like he was trying to make it not true. Gemma was crying. Proper crying now. Not pretty. Helen looked at me. I have the full documents in my car if you'd like to go through them now, or we can make an appointment for next week. Next week, I whispered. My voice didn't sound like mine. Here's my card, Helen said. He handed it to me. Her hand was steady. Mine wasn't. She picked up her handbag. A plain black leather one. He walked to the door. She paused and looked back at Derek. Grief makes people say things they don't mean, she said. But it doesn't make them say things they don't think. Good afternoon. She left. The door closed behind her with a soft click. I picked up my coat. It was draped over one of the plastic chairs. I could feel everyone watching me. I didn't look at Derek. I didn't look at Gemma. I didn't look at anyone. I walked to the door. My shoes squeaked on the wooden floor. Nobody stopped me. Nobody said anything. No apologies. No tears. Nothing. I drove home. I only lived 20 minutes away, but I couldn't remember the drive afterwards. I parked outside my flat. The rubbish one above the chippy where the boiler still doesn't work properly. I sat in the car for maybe 10 minutes. Maybe longer. And I cried. Not sad crying exactly. Just crying. Like something had been squeezed out of me that had been stuck there for years. My phone buzzed later that evening. A text from Uncle Keith. Didn't know you'd done all that for your mum. Good on you, love. That was it. Nothing from Derek. Nothing from Gemma. I didn't expect anything. The house is mine now. Mum's house. The one with the blue front door and the garden she loved. I haven't moved in yet. I'm not sure if I will. It doesn't feel right somehow. It just feels quiet.
This was all for today. I am sure that you people will love this story, and I am very glad to say you of your support. If you are also interested in watching more stories like this, please subscribe to our channel.